Okay, I guess we are live now. So, good evening, friends. Just let me check whether we are live. Just a minute, please. Yeah, we are live. So, welcome, friends, to today evening session. So, I hope today's session will give you a lot of insights about anger management. It is one of the vital parts of practice management, which does come handy to all of us in daily aspects of clinic. So before I begin, let me share my screen first. So welcome all the participants from my paid group. So I think it is a working day, so we have comparatively less attendance, but we will be having on the page itself. So here we begin. Okay, great. So welcome friends to today evening session. Today's session I was supposed to take on the 21st of August, but somehow things got delayed a bit, and the delay was almost 18, 19 days. So, uh, so better late than never. I'll be divulging a few aspects of anger management. So it is a very interesting presentation and a very less discussed one. We actually say pay very less attention to this aspect of practice. So all my presentations always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty who's given me much more than what I deserve. So this is my brief biodata. You are all aware of it. So this is practice management session, total Zoom free session number 5 as a part of say experimental stage what I'm doing in 2020 in the paid in my paid WhatsApp group. So today's topic will be managing the angry patient in a dental clinic. So this is a very less discussed part. As I said, angry patient can be sometimes really say threatening to our security, can be detrimental to our success, and may cause a lot of other problems. So a normal common question would be that if we are confronted by a patient who has been angry, who say threatens to actually say dismiss all our patients, other ones sitting in the waiting, or sometimes we really feel say that we are not safe, we feel that the patient may be physically violent. So if we have been in such situation, and sometimes we say have sometimes been approached by an angry individual who has not been very kind to us verbally. So if any of these scenarios has been faced by you, yes, you will find today's slides actually beneficial for you in any hospital, multi-speciality clinic, or any kind of setting which you might be having actually. So uh, let's begin the following slides. So all human beings experience anger. It is a very natural, or I say normal kind of an emotion. Whenever we think that we or our loved ones or any of the things we care for, we love, are treated badly, the natural human emotion is anger. And if somebody says that I have controlled anger totally, he may be lying, because it is one emotion which comes actually as a part of your physiological process, and not as a process of your say control process. So sometimes the hostility or say the anger diverts towards even the inert objects, of course towards people, towards animals. We all know कितनों ने हम में से बहुत बार गुस्से में प्लेटें बहुत कुछ तोड़ा है अपने घर में. So all these things, we have broken our favorite things also in anger sometimes. And a classical recent example may be the US Open 2020. Just yesterday it happened. The world number one, Novak Djokovic, he was disqualified from US Open yesterday. And what was the reason? I'll show you. So it may be a, say, a normal emotion, a natural emotion, but if you deal with it positively, surely you will be, say, benefited from it. So he was actually trailing by 4-5 in the first set, all set for his 18th major Grand Slam, the world number one, the Serbian player. He has had an excellent year this so far. So he actually, in anger, threw away the ball with full force with racket towards the backstage, uh, oblivious of the fact that a ball lineman or line woman was standing over there, and it hit flush on her neck, just below her chin, full blow. And imagine, of course, they haven't disclosed the identity of the person. It actually hit hit her over here, this portion just below her chin. So this was, of course, it was not done intentionally. So it could have been, say, a normal reaction to a person losing a set or set point or a game point. He had lost actually 3 set points. What was the reason for it? The reason was the call was made, and the call was just about 1 mm inside the line. If you can see my arrow, just 1 mm inside the line. Imagine this 1 mm caused the anger. Of course, as I said, it was not intentional. There might have been the umpires actually disqualified him from the tournament. It was a quarterfinal. He was all set to, say, win another Grand Slam, as I said, uh, because the opponents all in the quarter and semis were not very forceful. Of course, he's the world number one. So just that 1 mm caused him to lose his anger, and he debated actually politely. Of course, when the ball hit the line woman, he went there and patted on the back just to ask out of concern. And even the officials agreed that the anger which was submitted, or which was, say, was not intentional. It was not done by the point, but the damage was done. He debated politely. Yes, it could be a, say, set penalty, it could be a game penalty, it could be a, say, of course not the match, it could be a set point, or it could be the whole set which could have been delivered away. But the officials too chose to go the hard way. They disqualified him from the tournament. Of course, this might be a game changer for the tennis, but what I want to emphasize over here is the anger was because of this 1 mm, which was, say, very hardly a thing to, say, lose your temper upon. So anger can be a urgent feeling because it demands us to slow burn, and physical, emotional, physical, and, say, psychological components are all involved with there. But if we actually only express our anger negatively, it can lead to a lot of problems. So we Punjabis, I will not have any shame in saying it. We Punjabis are the most, say, angry young men or angry known persons in all over the world, because we lose our temper very frequently. And coupled with that, our language is very, very polite, or, say, I will say, not in a wrong tone. It is a very rude language. It takes just a second for us, a Punjabi, to pick up a fight. So the normal conversation sometimes is, "Oye, tu kya, tu kinu kya tu?" That is the way. That is the way sometimes people in Punjab respond. Just for the words ki, if you call someone by a tu, which is a common word in language. Punjabi is known to be very rude language, of course. So sometimes somebody takes off, say, overtakes us on the road, or sometimes is not give someone is not giving us the side. Our, say blood pressure fumes up. Our children fail to cooperate sometimes. So that uncontrolled anger can actually, say, take a toll on our life, on our heart, in our relationships, and of course our clinic as well. So it can be harmful, but if we use it positively, we can succeed. So as I gave you the example of, say, Punjab. So Punjab driving is a very famous incident. Somebody drives faster than you. He'll say, "Vekh kiਵੇਂ ਅੱਗ ਲੱਗੀ ਕੰਜਰ ਨੂੰ." Of course, kanjar is sometimes used as a wrong word. It is a, say, it is a abuse sometimes, but in Punjabi it is a normal word. These words, these kind of words like BC, MC, and all these things are used as helping verbs in Punjab, and they are word used lovingly. So they, if somebody overtakes you, say, "Dekh ke mein aag lagi," ke mein, how hungry he is for reaching his destination. So, and if somebody is not giving you sides, we'll make a comment. कार चलानी आती नहीं, साइड देनी नहीं किसी को. So ली क्यों थी कार अगर चलानी नहीं आती? So if somebody is driving a safe speed, then if somebody is say trying to equalize you or say tries to overtake you, comes parallel to you, our response is अच्छा प्यो नाल रेसा. That means you try to take a panga with your father. So this is the way. All these three scenarios on road, and we Punjabis are very fond of it. So just to give you an example, that sometimes even normal scenarios can be threatening for us, can be say situations where we can pick up our fight. So it is a negative emotional state, but okay, of course, it is accompanied by physiological arousal and opposite thoughts, negative thoughts, antagonistic thoughts towards a person, because it is all perception. Once we are in that kind of a situation, the fight and the flight hormone, adrenaline takes over, and sometimes it can be mild irritation to some who can control their anger to a lot, to a great deal, but for some it might be a out of control thing. So anger can be suppressed also sometimes. It can be say towards directed towards us also. As I said, we can divert our anger towards inert objects as well. So this was just about the brief introduction. Now let's come to the dental clinic scenarios. What exactly the topic is all about. So what exactly happens in our dental clinic? What can be the problems with our patients? The problems can be at the start of the treatment, of course, in the middle of the treatment, and at the end of the treatment. So what can they be? Just have a look. So at the start, if somebody comes to you, why can't you start my treatment now? Why do I need medications for treatment? The real reason might be that you might be actually having a, say, 20 patient out of your 80-20 group who is going to give you 80% revenue. You don't want to cancel that patient. So you are actually doing that. Maybe sometimes you might be going in for medical investigations. Maybe you are, say, going in for a LA hypersensitivity testing. Or maybe the situation actually genuinely needs medicines. But someone who is in pain and wants to actually get the treatment started, he'll get angry at these situations. Then in the middle, the patients have been left to wait for a long time after being seen in the clinic. An error has been made by us during the procedures, and there has been a delay in diagnosis or treatment. Or midway of the diagnosis, we realize actually that galati ho gayi hai, and how to convey it. But the patient knows it. Then at the end, they receive the bad news. We promise them at the start that we'll be able to save the tooth, but in the end, हम बोलते नहीं यार ये तो अब दांत निकालना पड़ेगा. So then the patient expectation is not being met. The patient has come from a good referral source, but the SAB and VSAB treatment, as I mentioned fondly, have not been given. The internal marketing has not been up to the mark. The situation has not been very wonderfully handled by your staff. So again, the medical history comes and plays a role into this. The patient may be having alcohol history or a mental health issues or other anger management issues, which we might not be actually genuinely taking. The patient might not be, and it takes just say little mastic to fire up his whole bomb. So even patients we see normally as say cool and calm customers can reach their boiling point. If sometimes in hospitals, you go to a hospital for a OPD checkup, of course, concerning our medical colleagues, and if the doctor says get admitted, if this threatens their health, mobility, and independence, it will actually make them boil with anger. Then again, it all leads to stress, anxiety, and frustration. And the pain and fear are the bigger components in that. So we have to understand the basic point in recognizing the anger is the bottom line. How to recognize it, I'll be discussing, of course, in the coming slides. So anger can have many trigger factors: fear, misunderstanding, waiting point. So some patients already arrive angry. They might be angry on their way only. They might have an altercation with someone on their way. They might have had a say bad say experience coming to the clinic. They might have a flat tire. They might have multiple reasons. They might be getting late. then a brief delay in being seen may be seen as right. This is the perception. How does it make? Let's suppose the patient is sitting there waiting. You are actually supposed to see the patient on the scheduled time, but you are running late and you don't inform the patient. And your receptionist also is very cold enough to say it. And the patient is repeatedly looking at his or her watch. मैं late हो रहा हूँ, मेरे को कहीं जाना है. And what happens? And then starts making rounds here and there, like just like outside a pregnancy ward. So it all actually happens over there, and and also starts complaining or cribbing a little bit to the receptionist. Time पे बुलाते नहीं हो, time पे बुलाते हो तो देखना नहीं है. All these things, maybe in slow murmurs, which not be say visible, audible to you, but are audible to your receptionist. So what happens? Before the patient which is being treated checks out, your receptionist goes in, whispers into your ear, बार वाला पेशेंट बहुत बड़बड़ कर रहा है, बार वाला पेशेंट बहुत चिड़चिड़ कर रहा है, बहुत हल्ला कर रहा है. All these little lines, these 2 or 3 words will create a lot of problem or a lot of perception in your mind, and your mindset changes, and you say become a confrontational kind of a say attitude in your approach. And what happens? You already have a say firm foot sitting, and you try to actually say have a gain over the patient, and the patient who is already irritated, if you show him little bit of dominance, the same will transfer actually, and the fight starts. And as I said, it all depends upon what kind of temper you have. And if you can't control your temper, you can't actually say uh, control your other factors. So early signs can be irritable comments, sighing, agitation, and all those things, and variable other factors. So I always say, if you're going to take time, always inform your patient, always inform about the delay, and preferably do that yourself. Don't make your receptionist do it. Don't make your receptionist do that. Of course, you are the one who is in charge of the clinic, and a little word or two from you of say concern that yes, emergencies have prompted, emergencies have say been there, and which can actually say which are actually leading to the delay. You can make the patient understand a little bit what you can convey, your reception won't be able to convey. And sometimes the more dangerous part is when the during the middle of the procedure, it all then goes back to your first consultation. Middle of the procedure, you start doing a crown prep. You have informed the patient कि हम आपके दांत लगा देंगे, but the patient actually does not know what is going to happen. Don't worry, मेरे पे भरोसा रखो, मैं कर लूंगा. The moment you start reducing the tooth, especially for a first timer patient who is not aware of this thing and who maybe has some Google knowledge, he'll suddenly jump out of the chair and burst with anger. How dare you touch my tooth? That is where your importance of first consultation and your consent form comes in. You have to make the patient fully understand and be in sync with you. And the patient should know actually what is going to happen, especially those procedures where you are going to do something which is elective. And remember, this aspect becomes very important. I have seen this incident at least at 8 or 9 clinics by myself, where I've gone for consultation for third molar extraction or impactions in my past 20 years, 8 or 9 places. The dentist started with the crown prep and the patient jumped out of the chair. मुझे बताया नहीं कि आप मेरे दांत घिसाओगे? How dare you touch my tooth? These were the words most of the time the patient actually blurted out. And you have to know that the patient has to know what you're doing. That is why I always say, do not jump onto the treatment in the first sitting. You actually have to sense from the patient eyes, from the patient body language, if the patient is happy with you. Because you both have to be on the same sync, along with your staff, of course, who is your chair side help. And if you can diffuse the situation at the first step, that is the best thing. But if you have started without consent in first consultation, then even the situation can't be diffused at this step also. Remember this thing. Okay. So dealing with difficult patients is always a challenge. Somebody is already a say crackpot. You can't actually say debate him with him a lot. But then there comes your finesse in diffusing and managing anger, because whatever you can, it'll save you from unwarranted legal action. Somebody you touched, or as I gave you the example of a crown prep only, you touch the patient without the consultation, without the patient knowing, he can easily go to a court. And believe me, if you have no records, nothing can save you. Nothing can save you in court, in spite of your best intentions to give you the to give patient the best of the treatment. We discussed in the paid group a few days back about the scenario where the treatment done was still reasonably good, but the doctor didn't have record keeping, and that is where the problem was there. So healthcare sector mein, we always say that the anger can be divided into 6 steps. What all can be those 6 steps? The number one type can be a calm and a non-threatening patient. A patient is frustrated but he doesn't show signs of agitation. Then a verbally agitated, जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जाम्पल दिया, वो बड़बड़ कर रहा है, मैं कितनी देर से बैठा हूँ, कोई मेरे को पूछ नहीं रहा, मेरे को आधा घंटा हो गया, टाइम पे बुलाते क्यों? And this is a scenario sometimes the dentist might be running actually late for the clinic and not treating inside. And this conversation might be slightly more than murmurs. The dentist, the patient might be quite vocal. And just because you are not in there, if you are not, then all these aspects are related. As I am mentioning, here comes the value of time, punctuality in clinic. So you can see anger, punctuality, informed consent, consultation, all these are closely related to each other. So the third type can be verbally hostile. So the कुछ patients बड़बोले होते हैं. They can often say, आपकी ऊंची दुकान फीका पकवान, जो आपने promise किया वो आपका था नहीं. This is the way they sometimes react. Then verbally threatening, जो आपने किया मेरे से बिना पूछे किया. I am going to see you in court. This is a threatening patient. Then a physically threatening patient. You can judge from the body language that the patient is actually making a stance, having clenched fists, having say flaring nostrils. These are the signs you have to actually be very aware of when you see these things in clinic. Then actually physically violent patients who tries to make an attempt to injure you. So these are all the 6 types which can be encountered. And always try to encounter at the first step. Of course, medical history, again, as I said, I mentioned the 4 parts, the medical history plays a role. If the patient is an alcoholic, as I gave you an example, anger comes naturally. If the patient is a Punjabi and an alcoholic, anger comes more naturally. So add all these things into it. Luckily, I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm still angry young man. So anger itself is not a problem. But when it becomes out of control and one loses, say, control of the behavior, that is where the problem comes. And as I said, it can all be because of erratic, because of abuse, addictions, all those things can actually flare up this thing. And people actually try to suppress their anger sometimes, which is wrong. Anger should be let to vent out, because otherwise anxiety होगा, stress होगा, और blood pressure वाली कंपनियां पैसा कमाएंगी. एंगर को हमेशा बाहर निकालिए, कभी एंगर को पिए मत, किसी जगह पे निकालिए. फाइंड आउट पॉजिटिव वेज टू एक्चुअली डू इट. माय बेस्ट वे ऑफ टेकिंग आउट माय एंगर इज टू सिट ऑन माय डेस्क. Whenever say I fight with someone, I have a verbal duel, I sit on my desk and start writing. And believe me, I write really well that night. I'll write a lot of good stuff that night whenever I'm angry. So sometimes even I'm surprised कि मैंने लिखा है. But that is because my hormones are working extra time. So when it comes to anger, it is not always the female hormones. The male hormones also play a role. So anger is not something that you can get rid of. As I say, it is a normal, healthy emotion. The only thing is when it gets out of hand, when it gets uncontrollable, becomes destructive, it leads to all kind of problems. So we can't cure anger, of course, but we can, of course, change our, say, scenario or way to look at it. We can be less reactive. We should know where to react and when to react. That is what is important. The only thing for this is to develop more patience. I've seen a colleague who actually literally say has a lot of patience, drinks literally all his anger, and after that I see he has a punching bag where a lot of say he makes a lot of punches and vents out all his anger. This is the way he does it. So this is the way to actually do it. Don't suppress it, let it vent out. The only thing is vent out at the right place. So as I said, when it comes to anger, it is not only about females, it is about males as well. And hormones play a big role in management of anger of any individual. So all doctors and dentists encounter angry patients or sometimes their relatives as well. So we have to actually, the first step in treating angry patient or dealing with the angry patient is to recognize it first. Because once you know or learn how to recognize, I'll be of course telling you those steps. Once you learn to do that, surely you'll have a better control of it. Of course, nothing and no one is perfect, but yes, you can actually say have a better control over these things. So engaging with an angry patient can be distressing and it is a very difficult emotion. And sometimes, believe me, it is very easy to understand why the patient is angry. Most of the times, the patient has not been, say, told what is to be done. You are not on time. He has not been seen on time. More waiting time. So he is not been informed of all the details of the procedures. All these are little things. Or sometimes you promise. Then again, another aspect of practice management comes in: under promise and over deliver. The reverse of that: over promise and under deliver. The biggest reason for angry at the outcome. You promise something, say, equivalent to a moon with the front zirconia crowns, but the result was not even the treetop. So the anger is a natural phenomenon. So always know how you can deal with this unexpected anger, because sometimes it takes only a minute to correct it. Believe me, a minute to correct it. Just a very small example: you take an impression, a normal single crown impression. You see a bubble, you send it to the crown. उसको बोलते यार बबल को भर ले यार, we'll do it, we'll manage it, no problem. अगले दिन आप करते हो, फिट करते हो, the crown doesn't fit. किसी ना किसी एंड पे गलती हुई, मे बी. यू टेक अ रिपीट इंप्रेशन, द पेशेंट गेट्स एंग्री. अगर ठीक नहीं था, आपकी लैब इनकॉम्पिटेंट है. सम पेशेंट्स आर से ऑन द थ्रेशोल्ड ऑफ दैट, दे वोंट रिएक्ट काइंडली. जैसे नहीं, ठीक नहीं बना, आपने इंप्रेशन सही नहीं लिया कि आपकी लैब इनकॉम्पिटेंट है. दोज टू डाउट्स क्रीप इन द माइंड. द प्रॉब्लम कुड हैव बीन करेक्टेड एट द फर्स्ट स्टेप. आपको बबल दिखा, एक इंप्रेशन कॉस्ट करने में आपको चार्ज कितने में कॉस्ट करेगा आपको? हार्डली एनीथिंग, हार्डली एनीथिंग. So why not repeat it there and then only? My dad was very fond of this line: nip the evil in the bud. जो चीज आप फर्स्ट स्टेप पे बिना कॉस्ट के करेक्ट कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज ऑफ द ईगो वी लेट इट फ्लेयर अप. एज आई गेव यू द एग्जांपल ऑफ पंजाबीज, वी आर फॉन्ड ऑफ जो होगा देखा जाएगा, आम दे, कोई बात नहीं. धमकी तो हमारे को नेचुरली आती है ना. सो दिस इज वन एस्पेक्ट वी आर एक्चुअली लैकिंग इन, इफ आई मे से सो. So patient's anger is actually representation of the anxieties and concerns which they might not be able to cope up with. And sometimes those who have multiple staff members, they might see that sometimes कुछ patients किसी staff member से, sometimes associates भी होते हैं, they might feel comfortable talking to your associate or your staff member more, telling about their problem rather than you. They might have some barrier in that case with you. So this is the way you actually need to understand that somebody somehow needs to react it in a way. So you should also make sure that these concerns, if the patient is comfortable talking his concern to someone, make sure those are channeled right away to the correct person. So how do you begin to handle the situation? So validating the feelings first. The first thing again comes, again, the next aspect of practice management: communication, listening effectively. All the aspects of practice management are almost covered in this anger management part. So define your role, what you can do. Sometimes anger also bursts out of those things because we try to do things out of our skill set ambit, and we sometimes go out of our skill set to attempt a procedure, and sometimes we fail. And sometimes this failure is not taken very kindly by the patient. So these patients who are angry, upset, anxious, stressful, they can test our compassion, our communication skills and patience. So we have to recognize the early signs. As I said, this can be a tightened jaw, clenched fist, or a change in a behavior. That is why I always say, suno zyada. If you observe more, your body language of the patient, that plays a handy role. Of course, I'll be discussing those parts as well. So employ a few strategies. Diffuse the situation at the first step only, because what you can do at the first step, the second step will cost you more. Not always in terms of money, but in terms of stress. It may eat up a lot of your man hours, lot of your sleep, give you a lot of sleepless nights, which might not be actually very handy. So do not reflect anger back onto the patient. At the end of the presentation, I'll give you the don'ts as well. आपको do's तो मैं बता रहा हूँ, how to deal with the angry patient. At the end, I'll tell you the don'ts also, how to do with things you don't have to do if you stay on till the end. So the way we manage anger is something learned through life and our experiences. So we actually are capable, because being human beings, we are capable of evolving more and more accordingly, and we can make our changes and recognize the harmful side effects. So what are the triggers to anger? Somebody has walked in who is angry, or somebody who's gotten angry inside your clinic during the treatment. What are the triggers for that? You are not taking the patient concerns very seriously. अरे मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ ये सीधा नहीं है क्राउन, इसकी हाइट लंबी है, इसकी लेंथ लंबी है, वाई नॉट टेकिंग? नहीं ठीक है, ऐसे ही होता है. So this is the way you have to realize, you have to actually do. Then disappointment at the lack of treatment success. You promise something, the result was not actually according to patient expectations. That is where the role of mock-up comes in, especially for a long case, for an interior case. I always give the example of Dr. Thind. He has been doing mock-up since 2002, 2003. I remember somebody asked in a Byton forum, he said, my composite is expired, what should I do? So somebody advised, Dr. Thind was one of them, go in for a mock-up, use them as mock-ups. Again, those things can play a handy role in that. Then misunderstandings, you explain some, दांत लगा देंगे आपका, इम्प्लांट लगाएंगे, क्या लगाएंगे? somebody says, okay, ये डॉक्टर शायद इम्प्लांट मेरे को दे रहा सस्ते में. You quoted the price of a bridge, and the patient, when you started reducing the tooth or preparing the tooth, then the problem gets out of hand. This is again a trigger factor. आपने तो बोला था कि दांत लगाएंगे, ये साथ वाले दांतों को क्यों आप छेड़ रहे हो? So all those things. Then frustration or guilt, anxiety, stress. The patient is stressful of the injections, stressful of the dental clinic is not a very pleasant place to be in. We are used to it. The patient might not be used to it. We have to understand the patient's psyche. I hope you all are not sleepy. This is a familiar baby. This baby has met you before also. So what causes anger? Human emotions by adrenaline, the fight and the flight hormone. And it is known to cause physical and mental arousal. Of course, in some cases, sexual arousal also. Of course, not in the dental clinic scenario, but in clinic scenario, physical and mental arousal, which are very important. And it causes actually fear, happiness, desire, anger, stress. All those factors play a role in that. We have to be wary of this hormone. This is a very dangerous hormone. This can give you a good kick also, and give you a kick in the back also. So not everyone will react to these hormones very kindly, and physically it might be the same. More of your sweating, thumping heartbeat, or a fast breathing. But then our perception of whether we feel thinking, it all depends upon an individual to individual. How you have been brought up, how your thought process, how your brains, memories, moods, your situations, all these actually play a role. और कई बार क्या होता है कि गुस्सा सुबह से होता है, लेकिन कुछ ऐसा हो जाता है तो सुबह वाला गुस्सा भी हम पे निकल जाता है. So all those anger gets collected and gets on us itself. So this is the situation we have to understand, and some of these can be consciously changed, but then secretion of hormones is not in our hand. We all should know that some people have higher secretions. So that is the reason why some people will get always more angry than some others, because this anger is common for anyone, from small childhood to old age. So how we deal with anger depends on how much it affects our normal thinking and planning, and sometimes we act before we choose. And what makes anger worse? As I said, medical history plays a role in this. Alcohol, recreational drugs, so hormones, stress, anxiety, depression, disappointment, grief, all those mood swings, mood changes, all those play a role. We have been, say, suffering from a problem, a family problem, or a personal problem, and something happens in the clinic, that all gets collected. And sometimes we are in a jovial mode, and even if you do a perforation, the patient just koi baat nahi, seal kar do. So this is the way sometimes people will react in the clinic. So it again, as I said, if you deal it at the first step, it'll not affect your well-being, especially not cause you any physical illness. And sometimes we are, say, trapped at our desk all day. It leads to, say, non-venting of our, say, physical energy. So this way can be done. Then repeated failures or frustrations at work, sometimes feeling helplessness, sometimes causing unfair anger to us. So things which can make our lives uncertain, grief, for fear, war, all those, say, Indochina thing happening, Sushant case happening, all these, say, adding to anger a bit. And these play a role in our personal life also, in the way we react in our, say, every scenario. And these can be sometimes reignited as well. And there can be repeated provocation also by certain things which we don't like actually. So the angry patient is not a very good scenario to have. But anger can be made even more challenging if we are not good enough to handle or manage anger. And negative experiences, particularly childhood experiences regarding anger, can play a big role in that. How, as I said, how you grow up, how your, say, brought up has been. And we sometimes have seen it. We Punjabis always say, गुस्से का इलाज दो चप्पलें हैं, ठीक है ना. तो हम लोगों को बचपन में गुस्सा करते थे माँ बाप के ऊपर, तो वापस में चप्पल, झाड़ू, डंडा जो मिलता था माँ बाप से वो पड़ता था. सो दिस इज अ वेरी टफ टाइम टुडे. प्रॉब्ली आई एम और वी आर ऑफ द जनरेशन की जिन्होंने माँ बाप से भी खाई है, बच्चों से भी खा रहे हैं. So we can't actually hit our children, but we got hit by our parents very badly, and we still we don't have any regrets. We give our examples. In US, if you try doing that, they only call 911. So so being angry with certain things we can't manage, like bereavement or physical illness, we have been going in a personal problem, and sometimes we are helpless to change things. So if you have experienced violence before, you may have learned to fight back without thinking that this is the only way to react. गुस्सा आए तो मार दो दूसरे को. So this is the way sometimes people will react. Then sometimes there might be mental health issues, genuinely difficulties in communication. Somebody is not able to explain what he actually wants to say. I always say it very fondly. This is say, there is nothing wrong or right in this world. It is always the perception. सामने वाले बंदे ने किस सिचुएशन में, किस हालात में वो काम किया है, only he can tell better. And the same applies to us. So we have no right to judge that whether this was done rightly or wrongfully. And then we have lack of trusted individuals to talk to, who sometimes we call as our confident shoulder, where we can actually weep on in times of need. So how to spot, as I said, clenched fists and say tightened, say jaw space is one of the earliest signs, but otherwise what are the other signs and how you can diffuse it? So I'll give you tips when you can keep your cool and let the patient take your frustration out on you, avoid the taking out the frustration on you. So how do we recognize anger? Of course, sometimes someone feeling enraged, it is an obvious thing, a feeling of hurt, sadness, or threatened, anxious, or being afraid. Then your, say, heartbeat increases, your, say, respiratory rate also increases, tension in jaw, neck, clenching your face, shoulders, and suddenly the body language turns aggressive a bit. So this is the warning symptom. So then sometimes you may still have the urge to, say, punch or kick something. Some people might start trembling or shivering. They, even in anger, I've seen many patients also, even in my clinic also, many times. Not that I am bereft from angry patients in my past 20 years. So I've seen actually people trembling or, say, shivering or having even nausea sometimes while reacting with anger. So again, this is all got to do with their body changes otherwise. So an urge to do, or say, make a noise. Some people feel that if they make a noise, they'll be heard more. So these are all things. Then sweating also. These are a few signs and symptoms which can actually tell you. Then, as I said, look for changes in body language, tense posture, say and a change from a normal patient behavior. This will come only if you have been a good observant. If you have been observing well before, then only you can know that the patient is not actually. You can tell that about your family member, but can you tell about your patients? All patients almost, at least who have made a visit to you twice or thrice, that whether these patients behave in a particular manner and the next time they are not behaving in a particular manner. Certainly, a talkative person may be a very silent person. You actually get to know. Sometimes silence is the biggest, say, giveaway. It tells you, even in our family, your mom, your dad, your wife, your brother, whosoever, your kids, sometimes whatever way he or she has been talking to you, suddenly becomes silent. You guess it, you judge it that something is wrong, something is missing in the behavior. Then the additional symptoms, the temper rising, the voice rising, or as I said, sometimes raised voice means demanding excessive attention. Mujhe dhyan do. Sometimes the patient tries to say shout it in this manner. So if you detect any of these times, it is time to actually leave all and direct all your energy towards this patient. Start by spending some extra time, because if you don't do it at the first step, that problem is going to compound, and it will not compound like the finance part, which is a slow process. This compounds very badly, because the patient will go home or go to his friend circle, go to his office or workplace or whatever, and he'll talk to one or two people. And if the bad advice comes his way, that doesn't become double, it becomes quadrifold. And similarly, दो का चार, चार का आठ, आठ का सोलह, इस तरह multiply करता है. And even worse than compounding in this sense. So which actually will go to increase your liability. अरे ऐसी क्या डॉक्टर ने, तू केस कर दे उस पे. Sometimes it might be a genuine problem, but the advice may be coming from the wrong quarters. So it is time for you to spend time with the patient. Of course, this is the way to do if you have done already that in first place. As I said, if you have done the consultation and the consent part already, you don't need to actually don't need to do that very minutely in that sense. You can explain to the patient that this was explained to you, but you have not done in the first place, then becomes a very Herculean task for you to do in the second place. As I said, the first step is always recognition. You have to recognize, identify. That is why I always say, speak less, listen more, because this is the mantra to always recognize an angry patient. If you are immersed in the I, me, and myself syndrome in your clinic, believe me, you are not actually, say, going to get results. You are not going to identify, because you will be lost in your own world. We create an aura around us. मैं और मेरी तन्हाई, मैं और मेरी achievements. Remember, you can make your past mistakes as stepping stones to success, but you can never rest on your past laurels. Each day is a new day. Maybe FB sharing cases, FB, say, white line sharing cases, as I call them. But the next day, you do two perforations. You say fracture a tooth. You say do another kind of a mishap in clinic. Each day is a new day. You can't rest on the laurels that आज मैंने किया तो कल तो मैं और बढ़िया कर लूंगा. You can never do that, because that is the line when you become complacent, and that is the big thing that creates you or turns you into an overconfident zone. I always say in medical legal case scenarios, I always say don't be overconfident and don't also look overconfident, because this is the first thing which will gauge you to say be normal and be grounded. Because once you remain grounded, you will be actually, say, gaining understanding of the patient behavior more. If that thing is true about patient needs and wants, this thing is true about patient behavior also. अगर आप observe करेंगे, बात करेंगे, देखेंगे, then only you'll know that this patient is not normal. I've seen many a times, even as recently as last year, a patient very cheerful, say having say a lot of work done from me, total bill around 25 to 30,000, almost all payment done before the last sitting, just about 2-3,000 pending. Came out for the last sitting, just the polishing sitting, sat there and quietly wanted to walk away without and just paid the balance and quietly wanted to walk away. That is where I identified and asked him, and I was shocked. The patient, the answer was the same: over promise, under deliver. That you promised me this thing, but I have got this thing, I am really not satisfied. मैंने कहा सर बताइए ना मेरे को, मैं सॉल्व करूंगा. बट इफ वी आर लॉस्ट इन दैट वर्ल्ड, अपने को पैसे आगे, अपने को क्या लेना देना. The thing is retention of patients. Another phenomenon of practice management comes in. I've been dealing with all. Retention of patients happens with this. Referrals वहीं से आएंगे. Remember, if you treat that patient, if you go out of the way to help that patient has paid you already in full. If he's not satisfied, go an extra mile to satisfy that patient. Believe me, it'll make him your brand ambassador. It'll make him a referral source as well for you. So these are the things you have to keep in mind. Small little things. Patient पैसे देके जा रहा था, I could have say sat down कि चलो ठीक है, अच्छी तरह patient हो गया. But I observed the patient. This is the power of observation. So skill to identify when communicate with the patients. You should know when to speak, when to stop. You should know when to observe, when to talk. So this is the way you actually learn, because body language conveys a lot of things, and many things: eyes, arms, hands, say the walk style, the gait in the walk. All these things play a role. So once the emotion is identified, once we have identified, the recognition is there for the symptom. Now we see how we have to see that the patient will be treated, and then we can respond accordingly. Of course, the first approach has to be empathy and reassurance, and coupled with an apology. Don't be always be ready to feel a sorry if you genuinely feel that you have committed a mistake. So people will vary on how they behave when they are angry. As I said, sometimes it will be very obvious, but sometimes they may even say that, yes, we are angry. But then note the behaviors. As I said, another aspect: loud speech or shouting, swearing or verbal abuse, oversensitivity to what is being said, aggressive posture, not wanting to sit down, or walking or threatening to walk away. These are a few of the symptoms of a really angry patient. Not a normal anger, a slightly heightened anger, if I may say so. Then pacing up and down, rise in the pitch of voice, shaking, fist clenching, as I mentioned before, change in eye contact, not making eye contact, you suddenly looking down, frowning, fluttering, stuttering in speech, all those factors. So sometimes some people will display their anger subtly, quiet and seething, as I gave you my 2019 patient example. And sometimes people will go quiet or give a one-word answer. So it can be useful to notice those subtle signs, because remember, for me, any patient is equally important, be it a patient who has paid me 1,000 rupees or who has paid me 1 lakh rupees. So I always believe in retention of patients, because those are the ways I can gain more patients. It takes a lot of effort to gain new patients otherwise, even via extra or say external marketing. But if we talk of retention of the patients, that can be a good source of referral for all of us. So ignoring the patient complaint or rushing him, कोई बात नहीं, कोई better मैं देख लूंगा. These are the things, as I always say, the patient's common complaint to each doctor, not even dentist, but all doctors. Doctor ने हमारी बात ठीक से सुनी ही नहीं. That is the most common complaint. And believe me, a dissatisfied, if you are fond of flaunting your OPD, as many people do it, कि waiting में कम से कम 2-3 patient बैठने चाहिए. I stopped this thing in 2007 when I shifted to appointment system. I keep a gap of around 15 to 20 minutes between each of my patients. So rarely a walk-in patient will be there along with a parallel patient. So I'll make sure that my waiting room is most of the time empty, as I've been conveying since so many years now. But somebody having 3 or 4 patients, out of that 2 or 3 very good patients, and a dissatisfied or an angry patient walks in, believe me, the anger spews its venom on the other patient sitting in your waiting as well. It might create a wrong impression for you. So learn to treat each patient individually. There are, again, a big role comes in treating each patient individually and giving attention. And that is treat less, charge more. Again, the pricing and charging part comes from practice management into this part. If you're giving a say concentrated or say focused attention to a patient, the patient will actually value you. हाँ, मेरे पे आराम से ध्यान लगाए. If the patient is telling you something, you're paying due attention without being distracted, without your assistant being distracted, distracting you, or you looking at your mobile phone, or somebody interrupting you in between, or another patient sitting on another chair. Believe me, all these will set a wrong precedent or a wrong example. So before starting treatment, you should know, again, the first consultation, the first consent part, that the patient knows actually that what is going to be say the treatment plan, or what is he doing to go through the procedure otherwise. Then sometimes in the middle of the procedure, we have to identify that the patient should be say in accordance with what you have already done and what the patient is already in for. रिमेंबर, अगली बारी अगर आपने कोई प्रोसीजर करना है, उसकी इंस्ट्रक्शंस आपने पहले टाइम पे दे देनी है. Next time I'm going to do a surgical part, let's suppose surgical part, have your meal, have your medicine at least an hour before, don't have an oily or a fatty meal, similar kind of instructions whatever you are giving your clinic, so that the patient knows what he's in for. And preferably please come in 10 minutes before. All these instructions, when they flow, the communication flow, this has to be very good. And I always believe that you are the one who has to give the master instructions, the main instructions. Yes, your staff can play an adjunct in that, but it is your words which will be valued more by the patient. ये आपने आपको बताया नहीं था, आपके लड़के ने बताया नहीं, आपके असिस्टेंट ने बताया नहीं. This is where sometimes the problem is there. So some patients might not be थोड़े से ज़्यादा aggressive type patients. They may not be soothed by your kind words. आप कितना softly बोलना चाहें, कितना extra attention देना चाहें, they may not be. So it is always better that you treat those patients accordingly. There are several grades of treating, say, those patients. How you actually say react to that. So, sorry. So rather than becoming defensive, you'll be able to respond calmly to that patient and treat him with respect. Don't lose your temper. So if a patient too is uncooperative, try to identify the reason. I always say, try to go back where the problem is. हमेशा बात की जड़ तक जाइए. Whenever you know that the patient is hesitant to say accept an idea, and there might be underlying anxiety, there might not be other reason. As I said, dental clinic is not a very kind place to be in. It might be for us, but it is not for the patients. So the best approach, the feel, felt, found approach, empathy. Use empathy. Hear him, hear the patient out peacefully. Reassure that you have taken the concerns seriously. Empathize. Try to understand. Try to say give a soothing language back that yes, this might be upsetting for you, but sometimes I can understand that you are in this situation. And always say sometimes if the patient refuses something that needs to be done, calmly explain the consequences. Sometimes I've seen colleagues doing it in a different manner. बाद में कुछ हो गया मेरे को मत बोलना. This is not the way to talk actually. You have to even convey this thing in a very polite language, that this thing has this side effects. We conveyed this thing to you already in the say consent part, and you agreed to it. If you're not agreeing to it, I'll just want to reiterate. I just want to convey this thing to you, that these things are possible. If you still don't want to go ahead, I leave the final decision to you. The autonomous choice of the patient, the medical legal part coming in, autonomous choice of the patient. So trying to justify the situation or defending your actions, हमेशा आप सही नहीं होंगे. रिमेंबर दिस पार्ट, आप हमेशा सही नहीं होंगे. लर्न टू एक्सेप्ट मिस्टेक्स. यू आर नॉट परफेक्ट, यू माइट बी कमिटिंग मिस्टेक्स, बट फॉर दैट ऑलवेज इन्वॉल्व इज कि जब भी पेशेंट कुछ आपको बोले, यूज एक्टिव लिसनिंग, पैराफ्रेज, समराइज. Always listening is unspoken caring. It is always, Sir William Osler said this line. So people actually may be stressed out, may be anxious, may be fearful, may be feeling helpless because of the problem they are in. I can totally identify with that. So you actually need to identify the real reason behind what is happening. So as I said, listening is unspoken caring. Sir William Osler said this wonderfully. So how can we improve our listening skills? Paraphrasing, restating, जो पेशेंट ने बोला उसको रिपीट करके थोड़ा सा बोलिए लास्ट के वर्ड. Then summarizing, pulling together the main points of the speaker, questioning if you are not clear with any part, challenge to tackle and solve problem. These are a few things which can actually make you also understand the patient perspective better way, and the patient also will know that yes, doctor को अब मेरी problem समझ आ गई. So these are the small little things. And again, keep your statements short and simple. Avoid technical jargon. Avoid confusing medical terminology. These all will play a say role in that. Then continue to treat that patient with respect. And your body language should be loosely, say, hanging arms. Never cross your arms like this, or never place your hands on your hips at the back, or say like a side pose when you place on your say on your kamar, as we say. These are actually body language. This conveys anger. If you are say calmly standing in a stand at ease pose, so it is like that you are actually normal. So if still the patient blows up, he will never hear what you want to say. So हमेशा यही है कि अगर कोई बम फट गया है तो उसको फटने दो, because fireworks don't usually last long. हमेशा अगर एंगर किसी के पास है तो let him vent out. Don't interfere, don't interrupt. Ask your assistant to fetch a glass of water. Nod, listen very carefully, maintain eye contact, body language should be stand at ease. These are small little things. So keep your cool and never say these words. Calm down, stop shouting, stop yelling, lower your pitch first. As I gave you an example, पंजाबी में जब भी फाइट होती ना, आवाज थले करके गल कर पहले. Lower your say tempo or lower your sound first, lower your volume first. This is the first thing. And believe me or not, फाइट किस बात की थी? या तू पे पहुंच जाती कि तूने मुझे तू कैसे बोला, या फाइट पहुंच जाती है तू मेरे को ऊंची कैसे बोला, या हाउ डिड यू यूज अ हेल्पिंग वर्ब एज आई गेव यू एन एग्जांपल. सो फाइट किसी की बात की कहीं पे पहुंच जाती है एंड ऑल दोस टेम्पर्स फ्लेयर अप, एंड वी आर नोन टू डू दैट, especially if we are fighting, or if the worst part is if we are fighting with a non-Punjabi who will actually not take these helping verbs very kindly. We communicate in that way sometimes with friends. So then as the fireworks explode, maintain your eye contact. This is very important. Just listen, don't interrupt, don't interfere. Try to understand किसके कारण वो ट्रिगर हुआ. ट्रिगर होने का मतलब है कि उसके थोड़े थोड़े पहले हल्के से माचिस पास जाने के साइंस मिले होंगे जो आपने इग्नोर किए. जो आपने इग्नोर किए साइंस, वो फट गया बम, तो आपको तब पता लगा. अब ट्रिगर हो गया तो उसको फटने दो, रादर देन कि आप अपना बम चला दो अलग से. Fireworks can only create Diwali. Nothing say peaceful can come out of it. So once the anger has been vented out totally, acknowledge the patient feelings, express regret, apologize, feel sorry, and let the patient know that you understand, and try to find some form of agreement. Right? Because there always will be some common ground. बात करने से ही बात बनती है, इज द कॉमन लाइन. जब तक आप बात नहीं करेंगे तो बात नहीं बनेगी. सो आस्क फॉर पेशेंट सॉल्यूशन. आप बताओ क्या चाहते हो. इफ द पेशेंट आस्क समथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट आउट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, you can do it, and not falling beyond your skill set, you can go ahead. But then you can use phrases. Can you tell me what do you need, or do you have some suggestions on how we can solve this problem? Try to reach a common ground, try to reach a acceptable agreement, or say suggest a solution from your end that this is the way we can handle this. Angry patient can sometimes literally say blow everything in your brain as well, can create a safe shortcut or a fuse in your brain as well. So adjusting your style of communication is very important. Once we know that he is angry, we have to lower down our tempo so that we can prevent them from becoming further angry. Because this is the way we will actually come to know that the same has been taken care of. So what are the things which are to be taken care of? Voice, number one. Adjust the tone, speed, and volume. These are very important points. How to handle, how to diffuse the angry situation. Adjust the tone, speed, and volume. try to keep a calm tone. Speak slowly and clearly. Do not raise the volume of your voice, even if the patient is shouting. दो ऊंचे बंदे आपस में इकट्ठे बात नहीं कर सकते. Let one person speak first. Then the second is body language. Adopt a professional yet relaxed posture. If you're seated, don't say cross your arms and legs. Just sit, stand at ease with your, say, hands on your knees in a sitting pose. If you're sitting back in the chair, you can say recline a little bit backwards, but you should not be appearing as if you don't care. हाँ भाई मैं तो सेठ हूँ, ऐसे करके बैठ जाओ, बोलो, let जो मर्जी बोलो, मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. That is the situation where you are actually adding fuel to the fire. Remember, don't do that. Then acknowledge patient's anger. At this stage, pointing out to the patient that they appear upset and angry can be helpful. But you're looking very upset by all of this is a one line. You can do it. Then hearing this back can enable that you have actually recognized their emotion and start to process it. Sometimes the patient may not be angry. He may be anxious. He may be stressful. But if the patient replies back, yes, I am very upset, then that means that you have confirmed this emotion. Proceed that way. If the patient says, no, doctor, I'm not upset, I'm just a little bit apprehensive, I'm a little bit anxious, I'm a little bit stressful, then go on to manage those things. Of course, managing a stressful patient in a dental office is a topic for someday altogether. Maybe in near future, I'll take that as well. So there might be two ways, as I said. They may correct, no, doctor, I'm not upset, I'm frustrated. Maybe then you know how to deal with this situation. Then if he says, absolutely, of course I am, then that means you have confirmed that the patient is indeed on the borderline of being angry. He's actually, say, getting into that emotional corridor. So try to understand why they are angry. The anger again would be most likely frustration or fear. So the open-ended questions are very important in this. Tell me more. Why are you feeling this way? Where the patient can express more. Open-ended questions are there where the patient has, say, it is kind of a, say, descriptive time kind of a question. The patient has no limit to what he or she can speak. So then, is there anything else that happened that is making you angry? Listen to the explanation why they are angry by demonstrating active listening skill. As I said, nodding, maintaining eye contact, verbal response, the common or erase the H, the M sound. Yes, that yes, you are listening. But again, attention should be focused totally. You should not be distracted or disturbed by anything inside your clinic, even your assistant, your mobile phone, any other patient, or any other happening. Then allow the patient to completely vent out. Don't interrupt. Give him plenty of space. Don't interfere in between. So you have to improve listening skills. These listening skills are very importantly improved by eliminating distractions, concentrating, focusing on speaker, maintaining an open mind, not reacting to emotive words, sit so you can see and hear, avoiding any prejudice, and so on. So as I gave you paraphrasing, summarizing, and questioning, here are the, say, other techniques to foster communication, verbal and non-verbal. Nodding your head, open body position, maintaining eye contact, making encouraging statements, repeating the word or last two of the prior speaker, repeating a sentence or part of one, summarizing, paraphrasing, nodding, say relax, stand at ease pose, eye contact, and a good body posture, and of course, encouraging, using empathy in your language. All these are techniques to foster good communication. So once you, how do you respond to the anger? Once you have gathered information and you need to now respond to the anger, that yes, there might be many questions. So I hope you are not feeling sleepy now. We are almost coming to the end of the presentation, just a little bit more. So yes. So as I told you what to do, now I'll be telling you what not to do when you are speaking to angry patients. Suggesting a quick fix. Oftenly the patients will say, explore the emotion that you are actually trying to find a, say, quick solution. जुगाड़ जिसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में. Don't try to do or find a जुगाड़. Again, This will come up with a solution that may not even serve you well. Then getting angry yourself. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Try to do that very carefully. You might be really feeling angry in between, but learn to absorb your anger. Learn to absorb your anger, say, very well. So try to keep control of your emotions and remain professional. You are in a professional space. You have associates, assistants, or maybe patients, one or two patients along with you in your clinic. So remember, you have to take care of your emotions. Of course, you can also use a punching bag later on in your gym or in your whatever place, wherever you like to vent out your anger, or have a sleeping shoulder on your partner. So you may be entitled to being angry, but avoid being in front of the patient, because this is going to add to fireworks only. So the third thing I will advise is being defensive. If the reasons given by the patient are not legitimate, do not be defensive, or do not try to say say admit your mistake. If the things has been done, if things have been done as promised, you told the patient, let's give you an example over here. You gave the patient a consultation for anterior crowns. You told the patient that the anterior crowns, if you go in for a PFM crown, they'll be slightly on the thicker side. If you go in for the metal-free zirconia ones, they'll be slightly thinner and more aesthetic looking. PFMs may be good aesthetic looking, but the thickness is a factor. But then the major difference between the two is the price. You go in for a thing and the patient say creates a ruckus out of it. आपने मेरे को ढंग से बोला नहीं कि मेरे को zirconia लगाना चाहिए था. This is not a reason to be, say, genuine reason or legitimate reason for the patient to be angry. Of course, you can handle the situation in a different manner, but this is not a situation where you will be admitting your mistake. You have to learn and identify between these two things, where you have to admit your mistake or the reason is legitimate, and where it is not. Then you go back to your consultation, your consent form, your demo video, whatever you have done to explain the patient the difference between that, and just ask the patient what you can do in this situation, what the patient wants to get done. Of course, at an added cost some way. Maybe you can find a middle road that you can adjust some of the pricing of the PFM, if not all. Then these are the things that you have handled in a pretty good manner. But then I'll give you a few scenarios. सब कुछ आपने कर लिया. You have done good body position. You have not done those things which I have told you not to do. But there might be certain situations. I'll give you 4 or 5 situations. Patient's relative or patient or his relative is angry and does not want to sit down. Remember, अगर पेशेंट खड़े होकर बात करना चाहता है, let him talk in that ways. If you नहीं आप पहले बैठो, बैठ के बात करते हैं. If you fix on that, the focus will shift on that only. If you fix on that, आवाज कम करके बात करो, the focus will shift to that only. मुद्दे पे रहिए. Don't divert from the mudda. That is the bottom line. So if the patient is comfortable talking, standing ways, let him talk. Let him talk the way he wants to. If they are full of anger and intense emotion and want to feel comfortable while talking standing up, go then. Once he is done, you have built up a bit of rapport, they are comfortable talking to you, then you can then make him sit down. But if at the starting point you are repeatedly telling him to sit down, they'll actually get more irritated and more angry by this. So they're not going to sit anytime down in that. So if you are not aggressive in your posture, as I said, cross arms or hands on your hips or hands on your side of your body, then these actually will send a wrong signal that you are also in a aggressive posture. Let the patient stand at ease and talk to the patient in a standing mode. And once the communication goes to a better ground, then you can let the patient sit. Let the patient be seated and बैठो बात करते हैं. The patient knows that the doctor is in or the dentist is in a mode to listen. Most of the problems arise वहीं से होती हैं कि मेरी बात सुनी नहीं. How dare you not? People will not say it, but they'll actually know it inside or they want to say it. They won't say it most of the time. How dare you not listen to me? I paid you. I paid you for the treatment. Of course, in our case scenario, I'm talking, not of the general scenarios. So technically the patient has right on us in a way, in his thought process, not as a legitimate way I'm talking. So the second scenario, you feel that the say the situation is, I gave you the six conundrums. The is about the fifth stage. You feel threatened by the say physically threatening category. The number five, it was there. So became the relatives. The patient may be accompanied by a couple of relatives along with. So the patient might not be actually angry, but the relatives might be, and their behavior might be suggesting that. So it is always better to take an excuse at that situation and remove yourself, and maybe talk at a later stage. Physical safety is more important at that step. You can make XYZ excuse, somebody in the hospital, somebody say having coming up, or some important reason, whatever you have to make, but excuse yourself from that situation, because physical safety is more important. Because what can be more dangerous in that situation? Then avoid any sort of physical confrontation in that, because if you see that the conversation is getting escalated, everybody will lose control. Even you will lose control, however strong you might have been till now, however controlled anger phase you might have been till now, you'll also get say angry in this state. So make an excuse and leave if you have to. Then the third situation, your associate is to blame, your colleague who's working in your clinic, who has made an error, and the patient wishes to blame them. So they may even start to speak badly in front of them. Always try not to get too defensive about your colleagues or your associates. Everyone is a human being. As I said, learn to differentiate between a legitimate reason and a non-legitimate reason. If the say patient's complaint is genuine, be the first one to apologize. If it is not a legitimate reason, as I gave you the PFM and the zirconia example, never be in a hurry to take a negative ground. So the patient may be legitimately angry that your assistant or your associate staff may have committed a mistake. So use neutral phrases so that you don't share a say, oh, we are not supposed to actually add fuel to the fire. A common example will be, वो तो है ही नहीं कम्मा, मैं क्या करूं, मैं तो खुद निकालने को मैं तो उसको खुद निकालने को फिर रहा हूं. What does that mean? What do you want to convey? कि मतलब आपने incompetent people रखे हुए हैं in your clinic. You don't have to go on again defending him also, and you don't have to go on going about saying anything negative about. Always use neutral phrases. Try not to encourage the patient to be abusive. Always be ready to admit your mistake. I'm so sorry this happened. And ideally, the colleague who has made a mistake, or a associate who has done it, or the staff member who has done it, uh, he should be made to apologize. Might be a receptionist, whatever way you want to do it. The fourth situation, you have done your best, good body language, voice controlled, gave a common ground, gave a reached at a common point, but the patient or the relative is still very angry and is not ready to agree to your treatment or the suggested plan or the suggested way out or the common ground. Then what? Then it will be better to let the anger and the intense emotions dissipate. Call it a day that day, and always tell the patient, think over it, or even I will think over it. Maybe we can find something better. When the situation gets verbally threatening or physically threatening, always better to diffuse the situation in a manner that the same is delayed. Let the anger cool off. आपने सुन लिया है, आपने ग्राउंड ऑफर कर दिया है, आपने सोल्यूशन दे दिया है, पसंद नहीं आया, दैट इज अ सेकेंडरी थिंग. Let the patient sleep over it. Sometimes the patient will have a different option to it, different scenario to it, after sleeping over it, of course. Then the damage is worse. The fifth situation, you still have offered everything. The patient or the relative wishes to file a complaint, a medical legal case scenario. Then explore the reason why. Because sometimes, as I said, nip the evil in the bud. गलती हुई है तो पहले स्टेप पे अगर आपको पता लग गया तो उसी स्टेप पे कॉल ऑफ कर लो. Because many times ugly step it will be more and more expensive for you in terms, and it is not always in cash, it is in kind also, as I mentioned before. So it is your duty to ensure that if somebody wishes to file a complaint, he should give an information to you as well. So it is your duty to actually try and dissipate the situation at this step. And the sixth situation may be that you are sorry. The sixth situation may be that you are allowing actually the patient or the relative to vent out, and they are making themselves angrier, because interruptions can be helpful sometimes, and sometimes willing to wind up themselves and becoming angry and angry, and their emotions actually increasing up. In these cases, when you see that the tempers are actually rising instead of falling down, you need to gently interrupt. That yes, I am there to listen to you. Yes, I am ready to do whatever best we can do, but you can actually tell the patient, tell these things politely to me. And these can include an apology and empathy. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to know that this has happened. And yes, I'll do my best to help you. These are the words. And this is the way interruption is only to be used in such a scenario where you see that the patient's tone is actually rising with each minute or each 10. Of course, a minute is a long time in these scenarios when somebody is venting out. Every 10 seconds, every 20 seconds, if I may call that. So if the patient is angry enough to verbally abuse you, remain calm and professional. Physical distancing is very important, not for corona, not for COVID, but for the say physical safety. So threat is always a negative thing. So till then, speak softly and call the patient by the name, always by the first name or the whatever full name, whatever you are using. So if the patient still threatens you physically and you fear for your safety, do not hesitate to call security. Do not hesitate to call security or police. So regardless of whatever the patient's anger is, documenting each complaint and your attempt to resolve and making an entry in your record keeping can actually ward off frivolous claims whenever this thing goes in your medical legal case scenario. So all those of you who are listening to me since the beginning, you might have realized that so many aspects of practice management and so many aspects of MLC are covered in this one angry patient aspect. So this is all about taking control of tense situations. So what are the alternative approaches? Sometimes remember it is the patient who is angry, not you. You don't have to lose your temper. But as I said, being a Punjabi, anger comes naturally to all of us. So sometimes, depending on our temperament, it will be very difficult for us to actually maintain a non-angry posture or a non-angry, say, face to the patient. So it is all too common for simple misunderstanding to develop into an argument, as happens mostly with all of us. But do not leave your anger unexplored, and glaring at each other through the consultation is not effective. So empathize with the patient. If you're feeling angry, it is very likely that the patient is also feeling angry. Doctors feel angry that if because most of the time अगर कोई हमारी competency पे शक उठाए, हमारी काबिलियत पे शक उठाए, तो we feel really bad. I actually have had this scenario of 2-3 days back. I was supposed to go to a doctor with my daughter, and I know the doctor was at fault in one way or the other. So, but what I did was I told my daughter very clearly that I'll be putting the blame entirely on you. She's a 13-year-old, a newly say stepped into a teenage. I told her beforehand, don't feel bad, because then managing a teenager will become another headache for me when I come back. So I told her I'll be putting all the blame on you. Of course, this is not a matter of competency. This is a matter of say sometimes a judgment, sometimes another thing. But people like us, doctors and dentists, sometimes take it on our ego, and we feel that this aspect. If some patient comes to us after 5 years of crown cementation, ये देखो आपका क्राउन तारा लगाया 5 साल में उतर गया, इतनी देर चलता है बस. Sometimes they will not say even 5 years. देखो थोड़ी देर में उतर गया. And when you see at your recording, if you are having it, you'll actually take that comment negatively. If you might not convey it to the patient, you may convey it कि सीमेंट की लाइफ होती है, आपको बताया था. The cement life is from 2 to 5 years. I conveyed very clearly. It usually lasts more than 5 years, but I convey it very clearly. It lasts 2 to 5 years. The rest depends upon your maintenance. So I told my daughter, I'm going to say this, and I said this, and my daughter asked me on return, जो आपने कहा था वही आपने किया, आपने मेरे को किया, मेरे को बुरा नहीं लगा, because you told me beforehand, but why did you say it? I explained the same scenario, because many times you say a normal thing, a normal mistake is some, किसी का टेम्परामेंट कैसा है, वी आर लिविंग इन पंजाब, आई नो पंजाबीज वेरी वेल, सो टेम्परामेंट में वो ईगो पे हर्ट हो जाता है कि ये हमारी कॉम्पिटेंसी पे सवाल उठाए. नेवर चैलेंज somebody's competency. You might be a very good surgeon, you might be a very good dentist, you might be a very good say prosthodontist, you might be a very good specialist, but if you are taking things on your ego, you actually feel that you are stepping on the wrong side. So be patient. Anger is like a phuljadi. It will not last long. Sometimes a gentle confrontation may help you to get to the bottom of the issue. Sometimes the patient will say only bad words. He will never come to the point. I'm not sure about other states, but it happens all the time in Punjab. Patient इधर उधर की सब बातें गिना देगा, जिस प्रॉब्लम के लिए वो बोल रहा है वो प्रॉब्लम कभी नहीं गिनाएगा. आपने ऐसा किया, आप तो ऐसे कहते हो, तो ऐसे कर दोगे, ऐसे कर दोगे, आपके तो ऐसे हैं, आपके चार्जेस इतने हैं, आपके स्टाफ ऐसा है, आपकी कोनों में मिट्टी पड़ी हुई है, आपके बाहर सैनिटाइजर का स्टैंड नहीं रखा हुआ. जस्ट गिविंग यू अ फ्यू एग्जांपल. वो हर तरह की बात कर देगा. वो किस प्रॉब्लम के लिए वो आपसे चिल्ला रहा है, ही विल नेवर टॉक टू यू. So this is where you have to actually, as I said, the patient, if the patient's anger is spiraling further, or if the patient is actually talking without any sense or without any reason or without coming to the main point, you need to actually interfere. You need to actually little bit interrupt. आपको किस बात से आप मुद्दे पे ले आओ. आपको मेरी रिसेप्शनिस्ट की किस बात से बुरा लगा? If you have got the hint by that, again, if you know, if you understand your patients, again, my practice management starts with this only: knowing your patient's needs and demands, understand the patient's psyche, patient के दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, be a chess champion. जज करो कि दूसरा ओपोनेंट क्या मूव करेगा. आपके अपनी मूव तो आपको पता है, दूसरे की मूव आपको पता होना चाहिए. that is the way. So anger always has a purpose, and that purpose needs to be known and needs to be and the best thing for that is listen. 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We need to listen. We have to pay full attention. And as I said, pay full attention to body language also, patient. Maintain non-threatening eye contact. Maintain non-threatening eye contact. And try not to raise your eyebrows, purse your lips, or adopt an aggressive stance. And when you speak, break eye contact from time to time, so that it appears that yes, you are trying to actually convey something. Nod your head along with, so that you don't seem adamant, you don't seem in an aggressive stance. And when you deal with these issues, get to the deal with the basic problem or the main problem first, and summarize each point, paraphrase, as I said, acknowledge all these things, imperfections of diagnosis and treatment, and be honest. Because once you are honest with the patient, believe me, this is one of the first steps towards diffusing the anger. So patients who are irritated, they'll always say, yes, I am annoyed. Sometimes the patient may be full-blown angry. Sometimes they'll react silently as well. की यही है कि उस सिचुएशन को आप बढ़ने से पहले, एस्केलेट होने से पहले रोक लें. You can control and do so many things at the first step. And believe me, it goes a long way in building your repertoire with the patient. It goes a long way in creating or converting that patient into your brand ambassador patient. So finally, a few tips for you. 5 tips for staying safe. Assessment of risk in advance. As I said, recognize first. If you know that the patient is angry, know where you are, where you are and how long you will be. Observe body language and listen to the patient on the spot to detect it at an early stage. Acknowledge anger or frustration and consider calmly, ending on a hostile conversation and arranging another review if somebody is not, because these things all will make a lot of difference. Then listening skills, I have already told many times, Do not let the mind wander. Always pay focused attention. Put aside your personal concerns while the patient is talking. Do not concentrate on always formulating a reply. पंजाब में तो हमेशा सबसे पहले होता है. खैर, this happens all over in India as well. किसी के बोलने से पहले हमारा रिप्लाई हमारे टंग पे तैयार होता है. Believe me, that is where we actually falter, because we didn't let our mind process what the patient is saying, because our reply was ready before that. So look as well as listen. Body language, eye contact, all these things are very important. So certain statements which will actually say not diffuse but increase the tensions between you. You need to calm down. Lower your volume first. There is no need to be rude. Lower your voice, lower your tone. These are the things which add fuel to the fire. Do not use them. Then stop treating a adult patient like a kid. बच्चे मैं जानता हूँ क्या हुआ, बच्चे don't behave in such a manner. So this is the way sometimes many people use the terminology. Don't do that. Nobody is a kid and nobody wants to be a kid. Of course, in our hearts of hearts, we do want to go back to our childhood, but not in such a manner, of course. So a few personal tips along with those 5 tips. Take a moment before acting or speak. So that is why it is said, think before you speak. Do not overreact. Take a few moments to collect your thought, process. दिमाग में processor लगा, उसको process करने दो, and then involve it. Do not always respond immediately, because that will always lead to a hurtful and an angry statement. That will never lead to a, say, pleasant outcome. Stick with I statements. Avoid you statements. This is a very important line. Avoid or putting or criticizing or putting the blame on someone. आपने precaution नहीं रखी, आपने instruction नहीं सुनी, आप time पे नहीं आते हो, आप payment नहीं करते हो. If we go on doing that to the patient, we are going to increase the patient problem and increase the problems for us further. Be respectful and specific. I am upset that I made you wait if you are actually late. Rather than कि आप भी तो हर बार लेट आते हो, मैं एक बार लेट आ गया तो क्या हो गया? This is a way to pick up a fight in Punjabi language. So remember, an I is an important than a you. I gave you an example of my daughter itself, because I am doing these things since many years now in my personal life. So thank the patient. बहुत अच्छा किया, आपने हमारी नजर में लाया ये problem. Sometimes the anger will not be a shouting one. Sometimes the patient will be angry. आपके staff ने सही behave नहीं किया, आप नहीं थे, ये ऐसे करते थे, आपके reception ने मेरे को ऐसे नहीं बोला. As I told you at the start, अगर patient genuinely late हो रहा है, maybe he has a meeting after your appointment and you actually made him wait because of course, you're in OPD patient going on. I'm not saying that it was someone's mistake, but the same was conveyed to the reception and the receptionist conveyed to you in a slow murmur. बाहर वाला patient बहुत चिक चिक कर रहा है. You had a perception in your mind. Don't create such perceptions on hearsay. मैं तो हमेशा बोलता हूँ ये चीजें जज खुद करके देखो, rather than relying on your staff for such things, because they are not intelligent than you. You are a doctor, you are better intelligent than them, of course, age wise also, language wise also, vocabulary wise also, education wise also, in many aspects. Of course, in wisdom they might be, but do not let them make preformed notions and pass on the same, and you being a stupid fool acting on those pre-passed on notions. Actually, sometimes we do commit this mistake. Don't do that. And lastly, don't ignore how you feel. अगर आपके खुद के stress level बढ़ गए हैं, we also might be a, say, hypertensive kind of patient, not exactly hypertensive kind of patient, कि किसी से बहस करके मेरा BP बढ़ जाता है. We have many, again, hormones are not in anyone's control. It can happen to males also, not only females. But then find a shoulder to vent out. If that thing has made you actually feel stressed out, talk out to a colleague or a friend or take a break, because these things will actually keep on playing on your mind. वो patient आया, मेरा mood खराब कर दिया. Mood खराब हुआ, कोई बात नहीं. Don't let on spill on to your next patient. That is going to further create more angry patients. अगर सुबह का पहला patient ऐसा था जो angry था, तो remember, if you have 8 or 9 appointments, all those 8-9 will turn again compound हो रहा है. 1 से 9 बन रहे हैं angry patient, because your focus will be on that patient only. बेस्ट यही है कि उससे इमीडिएट नेक्स्ट पेशेंट, इफ यू कैन postpone it on one ground or the other, vent out your anger, talk to your colleague, get normal immediately. That 1 hour should be good enough. Have a cup of coffee, talk to your staff, talk to your friend, talk to anyone you love, you like, and this is the way you can be normal, so that जो बाकी के 7-8 आपने ट्रीट करने वो खराब ना हो सारे. Otherwise they will be also angry patients in waiting. APIP I always call them, APIW, sorry. So otherwise also maintain a healthy lifestyle, get some exercise. Stress is a big killer and exercise is a big stress buster. Listen to good music, good sleep, because अगर stress रहेगा तो नींद भी नहीं आएगी. Avoid caffeine, avoid alcohol, where you can actually say control your or better manage your anger. As I said, take time out. Time out is not only for kids. Give yourself also short breaks when you are stressful. If you know that you are such a personality, again, practice management कहाँ से शुरू होती है? Knowing yourself. The first aspect is always knowing yourself. If you know you are such a personality, take a break, take a time out. Do not spoil your next patient or pass on the patient to your associate or postpone the patient if the patient is to be treated by you only. But don't do that. You will not lose something, but you can commit a blunder by your attention temporarily towards that patient. Remember, patient से अगर हमने common ground पे बात पे पहुंच गए हैं, with that angry patient, we have reached at a common ground. हाँ, आपको ये solution दे देंगे. Sometimes you might have promised beyond your regime. आपके दिमाग में यही चलता रहेगा, उसको देना कैसे भाई? How will you actually reach that? So finally, summarizing, do not delegate the angry patient to anyone else. Always allow the patient to vent the angry feelings. Actively listen. Do not lead or second guess. Speak in a calm voice, slow your breathing. Use the words feel, felt, found. A common scenario used in empathy. I took up this topic in depth last year in paid group, I guess. Feel, felt, and found philosophy. I'll take up again tomorrow to give you a better understanding of this. Then avoid the urge to argue. What you can diffuse at the first step, try to diffuse it. Don't take it to the next level. So I hope I haven't been preachy enough. So the next session for the pre-group would be Saturday, 12th September, 7:30 p.m. Of course, paid group members can also attend it. So financial insights from a dentist perspective. This was supposed to be a webinar with IDE Kolkata, but then I'll be taking this topic maybe sometime later. Then the next topic is for paid group on next Saturday, 19th September. This is a webinar actually for IDEA Aurangabad. So paid group members will be joining in there as well if they want to. So because the Zoom will be having a strength of 100 only. So financial literacy, a must for dentists. The basics topics only, but the slides will be 80 to 90% different with the basics I've taken with you before. Of course, there is common content sometimes. So hope, and in between, if I find time, I'll be taking a practice management session also along with for the free group as well. So again, it will be open for you as well. So thank you so much for your kind attention. I hope I have stuck to my time of 1.5 hours. Almost just breached by 4-5 minutes. So you are aware of my YouTube channel. All the videos are on YouTube channel. Now there are 100+ videos. So if you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for those who have been watching and say liking those videos. So do give me a feedback in the on the page or on our WhatsApp group, wherever you want to, because the WhatsApp this chat would be washed off as usual. So thank you so much, and I stop my share for the queries or the question time if anybody wants to answer or ask anything. Yes. I have before you guys ask, I have a few queries on my page. So Dr. Neetu Singla asked, should written consent be written separately for different types of procedures, or a pre-written consent in case history form can serve the purpose? Dr. Neetu, consent is always customized. It has to be, say, procedure-wise. No two procedures can be used in one consent unless there is an overlap of the same. So history form cannot, because that will be a blanket consent. I hereby authorize so and so doctor for my treatment. I will not hold him liable for any damages in any court of law. That is a one-liner blanket consent, which is not valid in the court of law. The ideal consent includes all the pros and the cons, your consideration with the patient, your discussion, your treatment charges, your say terms and conditions of your practice, all those. Of course, the bottom and the top has to be customized. What you find on the net on the basic consent forms is basically the body of the consent. The top and the bottom has to be customized. So that is separately, of course. So Dr. Anshul Gupta asks, sometimes the patient is genuinely right and we know it's our fault, but sometimes they become unreasonable. What to do in these cases? Dr. Anshul, I mentioned that is where your paperwork saves you. You have to give what you promised. You always try to over deliver, but you can't promise them say give them a moon when you have promised a treetop already. So you, if you have a fault at your end, then sometimes I believe that a slight compensation is patient's right. It may be in cash or kind, of course, not always in cash, obviously in kind only, that you try to give us something better in terms of treatment part, whatever the patient has done, so that the patient gets a feeling that yes, my complaint has been taken care of in a way or in a manner that ought to be. So I hope you get your answer. And many of these aspects I covered after you asked your question in the presentation itself about the legitimacy of the, say, patient's question or the anger, whether it has to be taken or not. So open for queries from all of you. Dr. Bhavana, Dr. Harshada, Dr. Romika, Dr. Anupama, Dr. Sabyasachi, Dr. Vandana, Dr. Parul, Dr. Om Prakash. So 9 of you are there. Any queries for you from you? More than welcome.
So I have a query.
Please go ahead.
What happens many times if, suppose if the patient is not angry, but patient talk or the patient like gestures make us angry. What to do in those scenarios then?
Patient gestures
What
like?
happens? No, not patient gestures. Patient is normal. He's like just indirectly trying to taunt us or saying something. Is he's not angry, but he's making us angry in a situation, and he's not angry. He's being calm and quiet in those situations.
The thing is, again, you have to get to the bottom of that. Why is the patient trying to cross the line? Why is the patient trying to taunt you? Maybe you have not turned out to be what you promised. Maybe your setup is not as he was there, but he's sticking with you maybe because of your lesser prices. Let's suppose he's sticking with you just because of that. Unchi dukan, fika pakwan types. But of course, if the patient is crossing the line, it is not always right to lose your temper or lose your anger. You have to actually get to the bottom of, always try to get to the bottom of the problem, that what made the patient do that. Of course, many patients will do sometimes and say, I'm sorry, I said this jokingly. And then they'll repeat
Yeah.
those jokes many a times in coming sitting. Then you get to know, you get a vibe that, yes, the patient is trying to cut jokes with you in a realistic sense. So that is where you have to get down to the bottom of the problem, that what is making the patient do that. In this way, your staff can play an informal role. They can actually go about this task of say getting the truth out from the patient, or you can actually in a way get the truth out from the patient by talking it out, that or maybe through a feedback form, indirectly, verbally, or through a paper feedback, that yes, what are the things you like, what are the things you don't like. The patients will usually blurt out what they have not been liking in that dialogue or in that written communication with you. I hope you get your answer. Okay. Any more queries?
So,
Yes.
so sometimes patients come who behave very cordially with us, but their behavior with the staff is somewhat not very good, or they try to belittle them or something like that. So how do we, like, we know what is happening outside the operatory, but inside the operatory they are quite cordial. So how do we deal with that?
I didn't get the first line. Your first line was slightly, the voice was cracking up. Didn't listen the first line. They are behaving oddly
Sometimes,
inside, but they are not behaving outside just before
yeah,
the
they
work.
try to belittle the assistants,
They try to what?
belittle the assistants, or they are
Belittle
not
the
very,
system.
yeah.
You the only thing is बात करने से बात बनती. You have to talk it out with them. You have to actually, because at this point when the patient is not angry, you don't really need to go by those guidelines which I have told you. Of course you have to maintain the decorum. You still don't have to lose your temper, but then you have to actually value your staff. You have to stand by your staff in such a situation, because that is the point. Because if your staff has been loyal to you, you have to make sure that the same is say figured out in the patient's words as well. You cannot let anyone insult your staff. My situation for associate and assistant was there where the staff actually committed a mistake. In this scenario, you have to actually side your staff. You can ask it very politely that, is there any problem, is there mistake done by any staff member? My staff said that you said this thing. Again, those things have to be conveyed very politely, not in a way that you are actually complaining, या आपको स्टाफ ने शिकायत लाई और आप उनकी क्लास ले रहे हो. It should not sound like that. You should be still respectful and polite, and just make the patient realize his or her mistake in a very kind manner, so that the patient knows actually where the fault has been. And once the patient conveys to you, you can say, obviously the aim should not be beyond, aim should not be कि patient से sorry मंगवाओ. That aim should not be there in your mind, because that will be then belittling the patient aspect. मेरे patient से sorry मांगो, मेरे staff से sorry मांगो तो मैं करूँगा. That is wrong actually. So you shouldn't do that, but in a way you should actually make them feel that they are like your family members, and they actually feel bad because they work hard from morning to evening, say satisfying and treating patients, and literally cleaning up the dirt of the patient. So they need to be given some respect. So you need to side your staff, side with your staff, and show some solidarity with them, and get to the real reason why the patient has been doing that, because that is the way they will actually know it, that uh, the same has reached you, and they'll try to mend their ways in future.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyone else? Sure. Okay. See you on Saturday then for the finance presentation for the free group. So be
Excuse
there
me,
to
sir.
join. Sorry.
Sure, there is a scenario I need to discuss with you.
Sure.
It's not it has not happened with me, but what has there was a scenario, the scene that I had seen when I was associate past. So the female dentist where I used to work, she was treating a patient, but she was a the wife of the sorry, the lady who was a patient, her husband, he got aggressive with the female dentist where we were where I was working. So in matlab, my point is ऐसे situations में where the male tries to dominate the female dentist or the female doctor, how to handle that situation?
That is the where the role of your first consultation will come in. Understand the patient's psyche first. Understand what they are actually what they are up to, because most of the time this anger stems from the fact of incapability. Many people still have this notion that females might be incapable of doing dentistry full binge like males. Of course, no disrespect intended. I don't have any such feelings, but what their thought process might be stemming from that one line. So you have to judge it. That is where in the consultation you decide this thing, that whether that person is fit to be your patient or not. You can always refuse the patient in the first place only, but once you have started to commit, and if the male tries to dominate, there has to be some again a thought process or a reason behind it. You have to get to the bottom of that, that why is the patient trying to do that. Maybe he has been guided by a colleague of yours, maybe he has a male dentist friend, maybe he has some Google information, or maybe similar thing that which has led to this thought process that yes, oh, लड़कियों से नहीं हो पाएगा. And that is actually the male dominance, male mentality, which makes them make such statements. So you can always talk it out politely with them. Of course, I can always say you guys have a bigger edge because you can still talk impolitely and not get reprimanded, but the males can't do that with you. So you have a slight edge in that aspect. So, but yes, you can ask in a controlled and a stern, still a stern tone, and that what was their problem. Of course, don't ask what is your problem. Don't ask like this. But why are you reacting in such a manner? Have I done any mistake, or are you? I'm not doing treatment as per your say expectations, or what is the problem? Make them sit for a sitting. Make them consult in your chamber, and then come to that conclusion that what their expectations have been unmet. Try to meet them.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Okay. So, anything more?
No.
Sure. Okay. See you on Saturday for the finance session. It is for the free group. So the link will be there in all the groups plus the paid group. So the first 100 join. I'm not really sure out of 1300, even the 100 would be interested in finance. But still, it is my duty to do whatever I can and whatever I will. I'll keep on doing that till I have my conscience alive. So thank you so much for being a part of this webinar today. So please do post your feedback on the page or in the WhatsApp group, wherever you want to, or at both the places, if you find anything useful out of today's session. Because I believe that anger management is one of the basic steps towards preventing MLC cases, MLC scenarios, and again plays a big role in practice management as well. Because one who learns to control anger learns to control his practice in a great way. So thank you so much. I bid you goodbye. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, sir.